Good morning, everyone. Everything's going to be okay. Yes, this is why we can't have nice things. Jalen Hurts is most likely going to miss 2 weeks. Adam Schefter first put it out there that Jalen Hurts injured his shoulder. By the way, this is the Farzi Show. My name's Mark. Welcome to the show. Adam Schefter first put it out there, and my first thought was, yes, we can't have nice things, which immediately went to, why can't we have the leading MVP candidate finish the season and actually win the MVP award? Doubt it actually happens. The line shifted dramatically in favor of Patrick Mahomes after the news came out that Jalen Hurts would at least likely miss one game. Schefter first put the story out there that Jalen Hurts had injured his shoulder. He gets asked later as a follow-up question by Dan Orlovsky on, I believe it was NFL Live, saying, which shoulder was it again, just to be sure? And he said it was the right shoulder. And Dan Orlovsky's face was like that's a concern. And yeah, it's a concern. I'm not overly worried about this, but just to lay the facts out there on the line, Schefter did say that it was his right shoulder. There were some conflicting reports out there for a minute or two as to whether or not it was his right or left, but it is, in fact, his right. Just in case you're hearing this for the first time, which I doubt. Jalen Hurts. So Adam Schefter puts it out there, and then on NFL Live said that he thinks Gardner Minshew will start Saturday at 4:25 against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. That's what he thinks is going to happen. After he talked to the Eagles, and he said that the Eagles do not think this is a long-term injury. They do not think this is a very serious injury. Barrett Brooks, who'll join us momentarily as our guest today, tells me that this is a boo-boo. I like boo-boo. I really think that if there's no long-term injuries and you're going to miss a game or two, the medical diagnosis should be, it's a boo-boo. He's got a boo-boo. That would, if somebody tells me it's just a boo-boo, I feel fine, because a boo-boo is like when my 3-year-old, when Lil Touch comes up to me and be like, Daddy, I got a boo-boo. And I look and she does not. She just wants a Band-Aid because it has like Paw Patrol on it, right? And I put the Band-Aid on, you're better. That's a boo-boo. I'll take a boo-boo. I don't even want to hear the word injury. I don't even want to hear the word sprain. He's got a boo-boo. He'll be back maybe 2 weeks at the most. Worst case scenario. The fact that I would be more concerned about his shoulder and his throwing shoulder, I'd be more concerned about that if he wasn't incredible after he suffered the injury against the Bears, which was on that long drive we talked about yesterday, that 19-play drive, which, by the way, ended, on that drive, I should say, had a 68-yard pass play to A.J. Brown. He was 7 for 10 after he suffered the injury for 110 yards and a rushing touchdown. So I'm not too concerned about Jalen Hurts and how serious this is. A couple of people are hitting me up. One guy said, it's gamesmanship. I do believe that this is a legit injury with a side of gamesmanship. I do feel that if this was the season on the line, you're fighting for your playoff lives, or you're fighting to win the division, they'd be playing in this game against the Dallas Cowboys. I think part of the gamesmanship that goes along with this is that the Eagles could face the Cowboys in the playoffs. That could happen. And I'd rather not give the Dallas Cowboy defense another look, yes, at Jalen Hurts this season. I'd rather have them as much time between each other as humanly possible with Jalen Hurts. I would much rather have a lot of time in between the two times that they're going to play each other this year, if in fact they do play each other in the playoffs. So I do think there is some gamesmanship to this. I believe that there is some caution to this, knowing that the Dallas Cowboys can get after the quarterback. They're a very aggressive defense, and they can make a not so serious injury, a boo-boo, a serious injury. So I think this is a smart play. And you got the Giants, you got the Saints. You have the Saints after this, then you wrap up the season with the Giants. So I think there's some gamesmanship involved in this. But if I'm the Eagles, I think they do keep him out for 2 weeks. I think Gardner Minshew starts on Saturday, and I think that this is going to not affect how the Eagles season ends. I think it'll affect the overall record, but I don't think it's going to affect whether or not they're going to clinch home field advantage. And I'll go back to that season in 2017 when Carson Wentz went down and he was the odds-on favorite to win MVP. A capable backup came in with a very strong defense and I had more games to play, and they still had home field advantage to lock up, like this team still had home field advantage to lock up, I was confident that Nick Foles' team would still lock up the home field advantage, and I'm very confident that this now Gardner Minshew team will lock up the number one seed in the playoffs. So how concerned am I overall about this Jalen Hurts injury? I am not very concerned at all about this Jalen Hurts injury. If this was the game season on the line for this game, he's playing in this game. There's no way he's not playing in this game. My evidence for that is how he played after he suffered the injury against the Bears. After that, I look at the rest of this squad, and I look at this defense, I look at this offensive line, I look at the weapons on this offense, and I say, you can maintain, and you can certainly beat the Saints, you can certainly beat the Giants, you can certainly lock up home field advantage in the playoffs, you can certainly lock up the bye week in the first round of the playoffs. The number one seed, you can do that with Gardner Minshew as your backup because of how diverse and how good this team has been this season. I said a lot of the same things when Nick Foles came in 2017, and I feel very similarly to the way this team is going to approach this with Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback for maybe 2 weeks. This Cowboys team is a tough team, and I don't think that the line shifted to the Cowboys -6 all of a sudden for nothing. I think the Eagles will make this a hell of a game. I'm not very confident that they'll win the game, but I'll let you know my official prediction on Friday when all the dust settles and we find out what's really going on. We get to see Gardner Minshew address the media as the team's number one quarterback all of a sudden. And let's not forget, before this season started, last year even, Gardner Minshew went into Nick Sirianni's office. He darkened the doorway of Nick Sirianni, and he said, what do I got to be? Remember this story? What do I got to do to be this team's starting quarterback, bro? I ad-libbed the bro. But you imagine between him and Nick Sirianni, there's probably a lot of bros involved in this conversation. And you want to know what you need to do? The MVP needs to get hurt, needs to be unavailable. Let's put it that way. The MVP of the league needs to be unavailable, and then you can go in and let's see what you got. You don't got to do much. That's the thing. You don't have to do much with Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, you don't have to do much. You got A.J. Brown. You'll probably have Dallas Goedert back. You'll have Devontae Smith. You have Miles Sanders. You have a great offensive line in front of you. You don't got to do much. Dare I say it, manage the game. Let the defense eat Jonathan Gannon. Let them eat. Let the defense eat, Jonathan Gannon. Okay, just to make sure we got that right. All right, and then let the team do what they have done all year. There is another argument along with this, and of course I'm bringing this up. Does Jalen Hurts run too much? I'm going to go ahead and say that I never want to see a quarterback get more rushing attempts than a running back. And on Sunday, that was the case. In Sunday's game, you saw Jalen Hurts run the football more than Miles Sanders. I hate seeing that. And I felt like in the very early goings of this game, you knew that the Chicago Bears were going to make Jalen Hurts keep that football. They were not biting when it came to that little read option. And I have said this for a very long time. I hate when coaches say, oh, well, the RPOs are our run plays. We get a lot of our run plays out of the run-pass options. Can we eliminate the option part of this, please? It's like when Andy Reid wouldn't run the football. I'd be like, well, we ran a lot of screens, and those are like run plays. Yeah, but the thing is, they're not run plays. You're still putting your quarterback at risk. You're not running the football, and you're not having linebackers freeze for a second there. When you play, what do you call play action pass? They're not freezing because they know you're passing. They're going to continue to drop back. It does not help set up the pass with a screen game. That doesn't. Drives me crazy. Drove me crazy back in the day. It drives me crazy when I hear Nick Sirianni talk about how we get our run plays out of our RPO. Well, how about this? Just run the ball. That's it. Just run the football. Line up under center. Single back. Turn around. Hand the ball to your running back like we talked about yesterday. He runs the football. I was saying this yesterday before we even knew Jalen Hurts was hurt. I'm not someone that cries every time Joel Embiid hits the ground. All right? I'm not someone that every time Jalen Hurts scrambles and gets tackled, I go, oh, God, no, please don't. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about injury. Injury is a part of it. It's just, you have to accept it. But too much of any good thing turns into a bad thing. And Jalen Hurts running too many times and taking advantage of his athletic abilities a little too much is a concern. When Jalen Hurts reads what the defense is doing and he sees the defense is parting like the Red Sea and he's able to go right up the middle for a 22-yard touchdown, I'm fine with that. That's a smart read. It's a smart play made by somebody who has the athletic ability to get from point A to point B, although it was 22 yards for a touchdown. Good job. But the amount of times you see RPOs, like the play he was injured on, just run the ball, man. It drives me crazy that a guy that couldn't feel his fingers, apparently, in the early goings of this game, was still chucking the ball, was still controlling the football way more than your running back was. And your number one running back, who was 5th in the NFL in rushing going into last week, doesn't get his first touch until there's 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first half. Are you friggin' kidding me? That's taking advantage. That's too much. How much is too much? Right there, that's too much. That's where I draw the line. When you're getting more touches, more runs than you're running back, something's got to change. And when you see as a coach or a play caller that your quarterback is having struggles like Jalen Hurts was having in the first half of that game, change it up a little bit. Help him out. Help your teammate out. Help your quarterback out. Just hand the football off, man. Nothing wrong with that. And no else is to do. Not only is it going to help him not get hit on that particular play, it's also going to set up the pass. Go figure. Run something up the pass. How novel, right? So where I line up in this argument here when it comes to the coaching staff is, yes, I do feel like sometimes they rely too heavily on Jalen Hurts' physicality factor. And what he's in is 600-pound squats. Like, that's great, okay? But there are too many times that I feel like they rely on him being an athlete as opposed to a quarterback. And don't get me wrong, I don't want him to stop being that great athlete that he is, because that great athlete that he is helps him be the great quarterback that he has been this season. So when I watch this game and I watch Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen dialing up these plays that I feel like are unnecessary, case in point, 3rd and 1, or should be 1st and goal from the 1, you get quarterback sneak. How about just an attempt with a running back? How about just an attempt at the running back at that play? Instead of just taking, like, I think Miles Sanders could also get that 1 yard. Why am I continuously putting my quarterback at risk? When I see the read option plays and you see that the defense knows what the hell they're doing and they're forcing Jalen Hurts to either keep that football or their main goal is to make sure that Jalen Hurts has to make a play, maybe not involve the option. Maybe not involve the RPO. Maybe just are it and see how that goes. That's what drove me crazy about the news breaking yesterday. About Jalen Hurts' game, I'm not changing anything. Not changing anything. The way I use Jalen Hurts, I would change. And that's where Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni need to look in the mirror, look in their playbook a little bit more, and say, it's bound to bite us at some point. It's bound to bite us. And I'm not someone that's overly concerned with injury to a quarterback that has phenomenal talent, is so well-rounded. Maybe, use him as a pocket passer a little bit more. Maybe help him out in the pocket just a little bit more by being able to set up that pass with, a couple more regular old design boring runs. Sometimes the less creativity, the better. I do believe, I'm a firm believer in too much of a good thing ends up being a bad thing. And that's where I think the Eagles got caught up. And Jalen Hurts' is great running ability. Hey, let him be the great quarterback. The great running ability, that should be few and far between. Let him break off a couple of plays here, but I hate looking at a stat sheet at the end of the game and seeing, and especially after the fact when you learn the guy got injured, I hate seeing him having more runs than your running back. That should be a very, 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 very few and far. Almost now. I'll say never. Just about never is where that should be. So when I look at this, I don't get all up in arms because they've been doing it all season. Maybe not outrunning your running back as like you did in Chicago. But when I do look at it, I say there are situations here where I think you could help him out a little bit more. I think Jalen Hurts, for the most part, does a great job of getting down. I don't look at him like I look at Carson Wentz in that 2017 season, where it was like, dude, you don't need to take that hit. Like, Carson Wentz would take on tacklers like he was a tight end, like he was a 6'6", 300-pound tight end or something. Like, you don't need to do that, man. Get down, throw the ball away, slide, run out of bounds. Jalen Hurts does that. Jalen Hurts plays smart. He rarely takes the big hit. This particular hit from Gibson in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, kind of unavoidable, unfortunately. He was running out of backfield, had a lot of green in front of him, I might add. I think it was Jones that tripped him up a little bit. Gibson got on top, drove him into the ground. And that's when Jalen Hurts was slow to get up. And that's apparently when Jordan Mailata was standing over top of him saying, stay down. Jalen Hurts said, get me the bleep up. All right. And he got him the bleep up. And then he went 7 for 10 for 110 yards. Not too bad with a shoulder sprain. But when I do watch the amount of times that they are using him in the run game, when I am watching him rip the ball out of the running back's stomach on those RPOs, I'm thinking, unnecessary. Is it really that necessary to do it that many times? A little too much for my liking at certain points. A little too much. Coming up, Barrett Brooks will break all this down for us, and I look forward to that. I am, again, very confident in this football team in terms of locking up the number 1 seed. So for the people that might be losing their minds about this, for the people that think, Shane Steichen or Nick Sirianni really need to be called under the carpet for this, to a degree, you're right in terms of how many times they use Jalen Hurts in that regard. But for the other people that might think that this means the season, I think you need to pump the brakes there. I do not think that this means the season. I am not very confident, true, like I said, in the Eagles winning this game on Saturday against the Cowboys. We'll see how the week plays out, see what happens, but I'm not very confident. I am very confident, though, however, the team will lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC. So that's where I'm at when it comes to this Jalen Hurts injury. To me, from this point on, the defense has to be the star of the show. And maybe this will be a helpful thing for the Eagles and their play calling ability in having a guy like Gardner Minshew back there who is not going to be running RPOs, who is not going to be scrambling for 22-yard touchdown runs. He's not going to be doing that. He might be buying time behind the pocket a little bit. He might have some escapability to him, and I look forward to seeing that. You probably will see a little bit of that. But you have capable hands that can run this offense. Maybe seeing a guy who's more of a pocket passer or more prototypical, I hate to say this because it used to be the only trick that mattered, one-trick pony in Gardner Minshew and way he throws the football, maybe this will help them say, we can use Jalen like this a little bit more. We don't need the RPOs. We just have a drop back, 3-step drop, 7-step drop, and throw the football. Maybe they'll get used to that a little bit and say, let's do this a little bit more with Jalen when we get him back. Maybe. Hope on hope. Wish on wish. That this is a little bit of a learning curve or a little refresher course on maybe how to protect a quarterback a little bit more. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts doesn't need to run anymore. I'm not saying that at all. I think that aspect of his game does open up things for him in the passing game. I think that little split second where he could throw it or he could run it helps open up a running lane for a guy like Miles Sanders. I think all that still needs to happen when he comes back. I'm just saying not as often, not as frequent, not as reliant on the running ability, on the agility of Jalen Hurts. Maybe rely a little bit more on that arm and let everything else come together around that. And that's how I think you protect this guy, not just for the rest of the season, if he plays just one more game or 2 more games this season, but how you can also protect him in the playoffs as well. And this is coming from someone who is not anti-running your quarterback. I'm just saying too much of any good thing turns into a bad thing, and that's where I think the Eagles got tripped up with Jalen Hurts. They did not protect him with play calling in these games. I think Jalen Hurts, for the most part, does a great job protecting himself. I think the head coach and I think the offensive coordinator, play caller, needs to do a better job protecting their quarterback and making sure that when they're calling plays, they really are calling plays that allow him to be as safe as possible as you could be in a football game. And that's the other thing I hate is when people talk about, you got to protect him, you got to save, make him safe and all that stuff. It is football. So football is going to happen in football. I think you limit the opportunities for a defense to knock him out of a game. And he's tough as nails, and I think he's great, and it's hard to get him off the football field, and I really think he wants to play in this game. And I've heard a couple of different people say you got to save him for himself. You got to save him from himself in certain instances, and this is one of those instances where he wants to go out there with a sprained shoulder and go up against this Dallas Cowboy defense. He wants to go ahead and face that Micah Parsons. I'm sure he does. No, thank you. No, thank you. If you're already a little banged up and the playoffs are just around the corner and you got 3 games to win 1 game and you're playing the Saints and you're playing the Giants, Giants are going to be fighting for the playoff lives. I don't think that's going to be an easy game. But if you're going to miss a game, if you're going to take one off, I don't want to face this defense with him. Maybe you bring him back next week, beat the Saints, and then they just kind of chill for that Giants game. But I know they get 3 games to win 1 game. Those odds took a hit yesterday, according to Vegas, with Gardner Minshew going in against the Cowboys. I don't think this is a long-term thing. I agree with what Barrett's going to say about this being a boo-boo, so I'm not overly concerned. But just for this one particular thing, I am looking at Jalen Hurts, and I am looking at this coaching staff, and I'm saying a little less of that, a little more of this, please. And that might help protect the quarterback. The 76ers, ladies and gentlemen, got a nice win last night over the Toronto Raptors. I say nice win because both teams were terrible, offensively speaking. It was 104-101. I couldn't believe this. But watching the game last night, it was one of those things where you realize that the Raptors are struggling. Sixers weren't doing great by any means, but you realize the Raptors are struggling. The Raptors scored 5 points in the final 9 minutes and 15 seconds of play last night. So the fourth quarter and all of overtime, they combined in the final 9 minutes and 15 seconds for 5 points. Sixers weren't phenomenally better, but at least they're better. And they were to force overtime. Some controversy with some reviews as to whether or not there was an offensive foul. Look, that was an offensive foul on PJ Tucker. It sucked because it was going to put the Sixers up at least 107-101 in overtime, which would have been great. Tobias Harris, in case you missed it, got the ball in the corner, shot a 3 as he was coming down. I forget the Raptor who was under him, but did not give him landing space. So it looked like a foul. The refs, I thought, made a good call, and they called the foul. After further review, it looked like PJ Tucker stuck his leg out, tripped up the Toronto Raptor. The Raptor then fell under Tobias Harris's leg. They then negated the 3-pointer. They then negated the foul. So it could have been a 4-point play. So you're up 7 with 2 minutes to go, I think it was, in the third quarter, the overtime. And they say, no, we're negating the 3, negating the foul, offensive foul, PJ Tucker. The place goes nuts. The Wells Fargo Center goes crazy. After the game, they showed a different angle of it, and it definitely looked like PJ Tucker tripped him. I thought that was a good call. The ref making the call, by the way, was not very excited to tell the Wells Fargo Center, but he wasn't excited at all to tell Sixers fans that there was bad news. He was stuttering and mumbling all over the place, saying, I'm going to get tired. Damn it, go the other way. But Sixers fought. They did a great job of that. Joel Embiid did not score 30 points. He did score 28 points, though, and the Sixers were able to get the win over the Raptors. It was a wild, absolutely wild game last night in South Philadelphia. Tobias Harris has just been awesome from 3 for the 76ers. And I know before the season, even going back to last year's playoffs, you wanted to see him really step up as a scorer. You wanted to see him step up defensively because you knew these other guys were going to have the ball in their hands for the vast majority of the time. Well, last night in the game, Tobias Harris was just one of the Sixers' better players on the floor really throughout the game, both offensively and defensively, which was pretty awesome. Last night, Tobias Harris, 5 for 7 from beyond the arc for 21 points. He and Joel Embiid were leading the Sixers in scoring. Joel had 28 and 11 rebounds, by the way. So that was nice to see. James Harden, 14 points with 8 assists on the night. Sixers will now look for, how about this? Their 6th win in a row against the Pistons. That game will be tomorrow night in South Philadelphia, so look forward to that. All right, let's get more from our friend Barrett Brooks on our man Jalen Hurts and what's going to go down going forward with this injury to Jalen Hurts. Without further ado, our man Barrett Brooks joins us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, voted sexiest offensive lineman ever 1998 edition. Our friend, Mr. Barrett Brooks. Also, NBC Sports Philadelphia, Birds Huddle, Eagles pre and post, and as well as Sports Take on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Why are you parking cars? What else are you doing? What other job you working here?
Bro, I like nice things, and I collect many checks from many owners. So that's the bottom line, man. You know, I'm not one of those guys that sell my body, but hey, pretty daggone close to it, man.
Not yet. I've heard the rumors about you and OnlyFans. I'm just saying.
Oh, you say OnlyFans page?
It's just you pointing to X's and O's on a board.
Right.
Is this what you wanted? Is this why you came here? $5.50 to subscribe. Anyway, all right. So in all seriousness, by the way, speaking of cashing out checks, and you take care of a lot of people too, and we're going to get to that in a second because I love this story about one of your grandsons. Do you have one grandson or two grandsons? You have two
one grandson. I got and a granddaughter.
A granddaughter. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm my hands are pretty full.
That was the greatest transition ever from whether or not you have an OnlyFans page to grandkids. But anyway. All right, so the news drops. Jalen Hurts probably going to be missing a couple of weeks here, 2 weeks maybe. Most likely, of course, not playing against the Dallas Cowboys. We know about the shoulder sprain. It is to his throwing shoulder. What was your reaction to it? Is the season over? Are we doomed? What's your reaction, Barrett?
It's not to the level of what people are giving it to. I'm gonna tell you the truth. You see the way he threw the ball even after that. A 60-yard bomb. He's throwing tight slant passes to AJ Brown. I think this is more so an excuse to sit him down. If he had to play the playoffs, he could play. He has a sore shoulder. It's a little more than just a boo-boo, but it's a sore shoulder, man. It's sprained, sore shoulder, same thing. Apples, oranges, all fruit. Could he play through it? Yes. Should he play through it? No. Do I think that they run him too much? That's to me that's a slippery slope, man, because this offense is dynamic from what he brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reason why Miles Sanders has 1,000 yards. It's that little second that the defense has to read what Jalen is doing, and he's so dynamic as a player that it gives him the autonomy now to run the ball effectively. Miles Sanders needs him in order for him to have 1,000 yards. That little second that it makes the defense freeze allows him to either set up a block or hit it downhill. He's become more of a patient runner and understands now that dynamic helps him out a lot. So if you take away Jalen Hurts' intangibles, you just make him a regular quarterback, and you don't want to do that. He's a special quarterback for the special things that he brings to the table with his running ability.
Mm-hmm.
Is that sustainable over a career with these new wave quarterbacks, these new wave guys? I think it is. I've talked to more quarterbacks that have been hurt more so in the pocket than they were running around. But is it sustainable? I think it is. I think Jalen Hurts has conditioned himself and works hard enough that he could do this. And as he progresses more in his career, he'll know when he can run, he can't run, and he'll use it judiciously. Mm-hmm. He understands what his worth is and what he brings to the table. Can he do it over a career? I think so.
See, and here's where I'm at. I love the way Jalen Hurts plays football. I don't want to take anything away from his game. But as our moms told us growing up, too much of anything can't be good. Even too much of a good thing can be bad. And he does a great thing in running the football. His ability to do that is incredible.
Hold on. In honor of the Christmas story, you'll shoot your eye out.
Exactly. Now we got the steak on the eye, whatever. Now we got a big old porterhouse right on the eye. But I think it's just a washcloth actually she puts on his eye. But anyway, I think the coaches. I do think that they take advantage of his athleticism sometimes a little too much, and he might trust his own or default to his own athleticism a little too much in games. And mostly what I'm referring to isn't all the run plays he had before Miles Sanders had a carry in the game, but
right.
the fourth and shorts, the fourth and ones, the third and ones, there are opportunities there where you don't have to make him lunge head first into a pile. And obviously that's not where he was hurt in this instance, but why not give the ball to Miles Sanders more? Why not try to see if that run game works first before the scramble game works?
You're absolutely right with that. You know what I'm saying? Long story long, you look at it, he has to understand that defenses are going to try to cater him and convince him into holding the ball and pulling the ball from the receiver. Yesterday or on Sunday, it was RPOs. In those RPOs, he must understand that teams are going to make him pull the ball on the RPO, on the read. On the read, if you slant the defensive line or make the defensive end crash, he's going to pull it from Miles Sanders. When he pulls from Miles Sanders, if you watch the linebackers, they stood there and didn't move. They were ready to attack and come up and make the play. Now, they were making the play 3 yards down the field, but they were still making the play. That comes from the Bears taking the week and a half that they had and on their bye week and putting this game plan together. They made him pull the ball. So it worked. Can they change that up? Yes, all the Eagles have to do is just make him throw the rock. If they make him throw the rock, then he's pretty much, behind the buck. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they can still engineer it where they'll make Jalen Hurts run instead of him handing the ball off. Mm-hmm. But they can counter just by saying, all right, we're just going to hand the ball off to Miles Sanders. Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do. I'm just going to call 15 blasts, hand it off, and then Miles Sanders goes. That's all you have to do, bro.
I would have loved to see a little bit more of that even earlier, even before Jalen Hurts got hurt. So I feel similar to the way I felt in 2017, which was, okay, your MVP candidate quarterback is hurt. We don't know when he's coming back. Now, Carson Wentz, we knew he was done. But the bottom line is you have another quarterback coming in Gardner Minshew, who I think is good enough to help you win. And you have a very, very, very strong defense, similar to what you had in 2017. So, I mean, I have no reason to believe, like I did back then, that this team is going to do anything other than get the number 1 seed and get a first-round bye. Do you feel the same way?
No question. They're going to beat Dallas and already win the bye. Just because of Michael Parsons was talking all that trash. All right, we're going to show you that system, and we're going to prove you right. Okay, the system is why this team is good. And then Jalen Hurts is going to go ahead and win it all when he comes back. If he needed to play, like I said, he would play. Do they need him to play right now? No. I think Dallas isn't good enough to beat us, even with Gardner Minshew. It'll be a different offense, and they won't be able to prepare for this offense because they haven't seen Gardner Minshew since last year. He brings a different salsa to the nachos. You know what I'm saying? He's different in the aspect of how he brings and approaches the game.
Yeah.
It'll be a different offense, but it'll still be an effective offense because, number one, they got the best offensive line of football. So whatever they choose to do, they choose to throw it, they can throw it. They choose to run it, they can run it. It's not like they lose anything with him being there because the offensive line is so good. Now, it may take a little bit off. It just won't be as effective, but it'll still be very, very effective. Mm-hmm. They can't stop our run game because they can't stop our offensive line, period.
Look, on the offensive line, on the line of scrimmage, I want to talk about the trenches there for a second. When did Jonathan Gannon get the cojones to start running games? Is that brand new? I'm seeing all of a sudden TEs, ETs. I'm seeing them all over the place. By the way, when you say I feel like I have won my video game. Like I love that sound effect you do, my friend. It makes me feel like I hit it right on the head. I win a prize. But like to me, that is something that I was waiting to see from Jonathan Gannon. And I feel like we're finally getting to see it on a very consistent basis.
Right. It's there. It is, man. He was able to. They put that offense line because they knew the offensive line was pedestrian. And those games they ran were so effective because they would get those guys on different levels. And they ran it, which, that end, the tackle would go and slam into the tackle. And when that end would loop around, he'd be untouched. And then the guy that slammed to the tackle be scot-free also. It's like that offensive line for the Chicago Bears never ran games in preseason. Like they never saw it before. It was foreign to them. They had never seen those type of games before. And they act like, that whatever they wanted to do, they could have did it. Mm-hmm. They're number one, they couldn't block. They couldn't block Hassan Reddick and they couldn't block Sweat. So because you can't block those guys, you can run games because the tackles have to get out so fast. They're not worried about what's going on inside. And then once they get collided with that 3 technique, the end goes inside. It was just great scheming by Tracy Rocker and the defensive line coach. And Gannon just saying, look, I know my guys can beat you up front, and I got corners good enough to cover those non-wide receivers on the outside. Those wide receivers suck, bro. they were so bad, man. So bad.
A couple more for you. I do want to ask you about Jeff Stoutland. I finally got to meet him maybe a month ago outside of like a press conference setting. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. But what is it about Jeff Stoutland that just makes him be able to look at anybody and go, offensive lineman, not an offensive lineman, offensive lineman? What is it about him that really makes him be able to be the O-lineman whisperer?
Well, he had probably the best tackle in the past 12 years playing for him. He took a little bit of that and took Jason Kelsey and a little bit of that and trained everybody to be those two guys. That's what he did. He took
about Jason Peters and Jason Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey, the best tackle to play in Philadelphia and the best center to play in Philadelphia, took their intangibles and put it in a book and put that book in the library. And he made all those guys that came up after them check that book out. That's why Lane Johnson sets like him. That's like, Jordan Mailata sets like him. All those guys play the game like those two because that's what he teaches now. Mm-hmm. You teach from two greats. And then he had the pleasure of having Jason Peters here so long and Kelsey still being there, that what they're doing is working. So just keep it going. He's become the O-line whisperer because, he took the best of both guys and made it into one playbook, man. And that's it, man. When you have guys like that, I mean, it's hard to get it wrong. If you can get, he squeezes out every single ounce of athleticism in him and put a little bit of that dog that Kelsey and JP had. And there you have the perfect playbook to make these guys better, man. That's it in a nutshell.
Jordan Mailata went up to Jalen Hurts after Jalen Hurts got hurt. And he said, stay down. And Jalen Hurts said, get me the bleep up. Right. And he made some plays. You played with some tough-nosed quarterbacks in your long NFL career. Any stories like that jump out to you about guys that just wouldn't come off the field or wouldn't stay down?
I played with Big Ben.
Okay, sure. You won a Super Bowl there, yeah.
Yeah, he was still Little Ben. And he had the same type of air about himself, man. He was tough and hard-nosed, man. They knock him down, he'd get back up. They try to pull him down, he wouldn't go down half the time. We eventually had to tell him, hey, man, sometimes you got to play another play instead of trying to just finish this play. And, he was the same type of guy, man. He just wanted to be great, and he going to work to be great on the field. Now, he didn't have the necessary intangibles that Jalen Hurts had in his development as far as classroom work. He was a middle guy in, as far as timely, but he may have been the first or second guy out the door also. So he didn't know. It wasn't until he got older that, he became a student of the game. Mm-hmm. But he was just so gifted and talented and being such a big guy that he could do a lot of the things that Jalen Hurts is doing. He just wasn't as fast as Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts he's an oddity, man. He's not what you'll see. He's probably going to be the new prototype quarterback coming out. That's what he meant. The age of Marinos and all those guys are gone. Mm-hmm. But, he's definitely put himself in a position that you see teams like Chicago taking his game plan and trying to implement it into their players. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? People started looking, what are they doing up there? That was all that noise they're making up there. And they're implementing what he does, man. And as you can't do what they do down in Baltimore, because Baltimore, you got to have an extraordinary athlete to be a quarterback there. But mm-hmm. you can be the type of athlete Jalen Hurts is and run it up here. So there's going to be a lot of people trying to find that mold of quarterback to run their offense because it's so hard to stop him. You pick your poison. He's good enough to beat you with the pass and good enough to beat you with the run, man. So he's the new prototypical quarterback now.
Gotcha. In closing, it is the holiday season. Merry Christmas to you and yours, my friend.
Appreciate it. You too, man. You too.
Thank you, brother. You told me this story a while ago. I believe you had just gotten off the phone when you received this news, and it remains one of the funniest things because I don't have grandkids yet. I just started having kids myself. You have a grandson that at the time was like 3 or 4, and you had sent FedEx or whatever it was, UPS, to your daughter's. Was it your daughter's house?
No, my son's house.
Your son's house. Okay.
Well, I mean, it came close to the holiday time, and my grandson's name is Romel. He's 4, but he's RJ. He's 4 years old. So his dad messed around and showed him how to spell his name at 4 years old. He saw the R-O. So when packages would come, he would look at it, and he opened one up and found toys in it. So from this point on, every package that came to his house, he thought was his, and they were going to have toys in. He would come in, my son would already know, he's an audio engineer. he'd have some speakers come to the house. He opened up, Dad, this is not a toy. You know what I'm saying? Let's stop opening up the presents. So it's funny you said, I promise you, I wish I could turn my screen on and look like this. It's actually, I'm on Amazon right now, and I'm looking at these Lego blocks for my granddaughter. I'm sending Lego blocks and everything else. And I can see him going in and trying to open it. But I already called him and told him, don't you dare touch those packages that come in. None of them, no more, because he might get home from school and get there before his dad gets home. His dad will bring the packages in. The mom won't do it. My daughter-in-law will do it, but he will do it. And he will open up all the packages to see if it's his toys. I say, son, you got to stop doing that.
I love it.
So I already called him and warned him. He knows now. He's just
smart kid. Kids going places, man. Kids going places, baby.
Hey, little Yoo-hoo, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yoo-hoo. Hey, how about our boy Adam Sandler giving a shout out to Miles Sanders? How about that? I love you, buddy. How about that?
Bam.
Barrett Brooks, ladies and gentlemen. You can see him on NBC Sports Philadelphia, Birds Huddle. You can see him on NBC Sports Philadelphia, Eagles pre and post. And you can see him Jacob Sports Media doing Sports Take with our friend Rob Ellis. And I got to get Rob on this show. I haven't had Rob on yet. And Derek Gunn, one of my favorite humans on the planet, of course.
We'll determine if he's a good guy later on. You work with him every day. You understand what I'm saying.
I love the man. Absolutely love the man. Barrett, great catching up. Thank you so much for your insight, your knowledge. And I believe you helped everyone feel a lot better about not just the city of Philadelphia, but our football team still having success without Jalen Hurts. Thank you, brother.
He's just got a little boo-boo, bro. That's all, man.
Just a little boo-boo. I don't know. Barrett, thanks, man.
All right, bro. Later.
Barrett Brooks joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Always love catching up with that man. Always great. And I remember a slightly different version of that story from Mr. Barrett Brooks about his grandson. The grandson, when he was 4, opened the door for the FedEx man, and the FedEx man had all these boxes. And the kid, the way I remember the story, when it was originally told to me a few years ago, the kid recognized the boxes and thought, those must be Christmas presents. So not only did he figure out that that was his name on the boxes, he also figured out, I can let this FedEx man in. So the 4-year-old lets the FedEx man in the house to drop the packages on like the living room floor. And the kid starts going, thanks, FedEx man. And the FedEx man leaves. And the kid sits there and opens up his Christmas presents like 4 or 5 days before Christmas. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That kid is he's gonna run stuff one day. That kid. God bless him. And thanks to Barrett for coming on. See, a boo-boo. We're all right. We're all right. It's just a boo-boo. Let me tell you about the great people at Steven Singer. My man Steven Singer at Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven has been in the love business of Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love, picking out the perfect gift for the perfect someone at the perfect price. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's just true. Other jewelers like to mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you. Make it feel like you really won something. But at Steven Singer Jewelers, they just want you to feel like you're part of the family. So walk into the other corner of 8th and Walnut. See a real jewelry expert at Steven Singer Jewelers. They're standing by to help you out, and you can pick out the most beautiful, dazzling diamond that they have from the most beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory. It is spectacular. All my wife's jewelry, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Hey, folks, I don't get some kind of crazy discount. No. I get the perfect price just like you. That's why I send my friends and family members there. I trust them for stuff for my wife. I trust him for stuff for my friends and family. I trust him to tell you that you can trust him. Steven Singer, the trust tree that we're all in when it comes to the beautiful, dazzling diamonds that Steven has at Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut. Always fast and free shipping online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me tell you about the great people of Manscaped. Now, this is a true story, ladies and gentlemen. I do a little hit on a thing called Fox 29 occasionally, the segment they enjoy calling Foot Bald, with me and fellow bald bastard Eitan Shander. So I'm going to do a little open up the Farsi Show mailbag here. It's only the second time I've done this. The only time I've done this is Ari, our listener. Ari, appreciate you. So let's open it up. Letters. We get letters. We get stacks of letters. Boom, 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 boom. Letters. And a listener writes, Peter Pellegrino. Peter, how are you? Mark, I was dying this morning on Fox 29. Foot bald? Right? Just curious, do you shave your chest as well? Well, gee, thank you, Peter. No, I do not shave my chest. Welcome aboard, ladies. For the people on the podcast, I just showed the most cleavage I ever have on this program, just to display my chest hairs. I do not shave my chest, Peter, but thank you very much. And here's how I responded to Peter in writing. Peter, glad you like the segment. As for my chest, no, but I do tame the wild chest hair with some light grooming. Happy holidays. Peter replies, happy holidays to you too. First off, odd. And second, that brings me to Manscaped, who helps me manscaped with a little light grooming of my chest hairs. Here's the thing. When you are a bald bastard, the only thing that lives in my brain, that lives rent-free, is if I'm at a pool, if I am at the beach, if I have entered a Mr. Universe contest. The only thing that goes to my head is, oh, that guy's got more hair in his chest than he does his head. Right? Now I got a beard. Because I feel like if I don't have a beard, I would look sickly. Because I don't really sleep that often and my eyes are dead. So if I don't have a beard, I might look a little sickly. And people will be like, is he okay? So that's why I have the beard. But the chest hair is something that I feel like if I don't keep it well kept, then I just feel like that's something that will someone else will say. And I don't know why that would hurt my soul, but I feel like it would hurt my soul. So I just keep it tamed. I keep it tamed. I did shave my chest for a while I was a swimmer. And, you know, competitive edge, bro. Competitive edge. Even though I was just a swimming teacher and I never competed. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Oh, no. Cuss, darn it. Ridiculous. My chat check computer just broke down. All right, whatever. Oh, that's because it's not plugged in. Whoops. No worries. That's why we have phones. But anyway, that brings me to Manscaped at manscaped.com, where you can get 20% off with promo code Farzy. That's 20% off with promo code Farzy at manscaped.com. So you too can be well kept. That's the whole reason I told you that long story. Plug Manscaped and 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy at manscaped.com, including their Platinum Package 4.0, which is their best hygiene bundle yet. Check out manscaped.com. How about the people at oh, my goodness gracious. You like CBD? You use CBD? How about Freestone Farm CBD? Use promo code Farzy at Freestone Farm CBD, freestonefarmcbd.com. For 20% off your order. You'll enjoy everything from the tropical tasting Bayox that clocks into the chart topping 24.1% to Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all their plant compounds that are grown in New Jersey, in the Garden State. They carefully preserve them with a perfect 3-month cure. Like a nice soprasata. So do what I do. Enjoy. Freestone Farm CBD. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about the amazing people over there at PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's get into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin, good morning, Kevin. Oh, boy, Jalen Hurts might not play on Saturday. I'm not worried. I hope he doesn't play. There, I said it. If he's even got a little bit of a shoulder strain, forget. Get out. No, you're not playing. April. Good morning, April. Alyssa. What's up, Farzy fam? What's up, Alyssa? Nice to see you. Nice Sixers win. Toby. Tobias Harris, game winner. Not too shabby. Boop. What? Oh, Mike's Hot Honey? Is that a drink or is that an actual honey? Oh, Chef's Kiss, really? All right. Mihai, morning, Mark, everybody. Jalen Hurts will be okay as long as you're 100% for late January. Thank goodness we're 13-1. I concur. April, good morning, April. Everyone being nice, saying good morning. Hopefully coaches will learn to run the damn ball with your star running back. Sean, I concur. Sean, I'm going to read this as if it's Phil Hartman's impression of Donahue. Running backs. Why do Eagles coaches hate them? All right. That was more of a Sally Jesse Raphael type of delivery. And Miss Cusi. But for the last couple of seasons, lots blame Sanders. I disagree. Alyssa? You know what, Alyssa? I've been thinking about that. And a lot of people have blamed Sanders. There's something, he's always had a good offensive line. Why is it this year that he is having the career year? Yes, it's a contract year, but systematically, why is he having a better X's and O's wise? What is he doing? Is he doing anything different? Is he not doing the overused, he's dancing behind the line of scrimmage too long, just hit the hole? Is he doing that too much? I don't know. But whenever I've heard Nick Sirianni talk about it, who will address the media today, I look forward to hear what he has to say about Jalen Hurts, obviously. But when I've heard him talk about it, when I've heard Shane Steichen talk about it, they kind of say that his vision is better. And I don't know if that means that he sees the hole and he actually hits it, or if he's actually just seeing the hole. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I think the focus is there, maybe because of the contract. I think more things are opened up because of the respect Jalen Hurts gets both in the run and passing game. So I think that certainly helps. But the offensive line has always been good. So that to me isn't an excuse. I feel like the gaps that they have created, the lanes they have created for Jalen Hurts or for Miles Sanders have always been there. And for whatever reason, it's working out more so this year. Maybe it is Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's the contract. I'm sure it's a little bit of everything. But when you just talk about his production and having a career year, his first 1,000-yard season, also, by the way, before week 17, which is important to know because of the extra game he played this season, I don't just think it's him, but I do think he is the biggest piece of that pie. I'll put it that way. Boop. Last couple of seasons. Agreed. Coaches see a mobile quarterback and think, this is April. Coaches see a mobile quarterback and think that's all we need. April, I agree. They get a little too carried away with it. Carried away is the phrase I'm really looking for here. Also, we don't need to keep calling it a quarterback sneak for the Birds. Literally everyone in the stadium knows what's coming. Jason Kelce literally says, you know what's coming, and then they get the first down. Literally that happened when he's been mic'd up on the field. Literally that's what happens. Sean Gillespie, quarterback sneaks, exactly. Clay, interesting. All we heard the last time was how we beat Cooper Rush. Now, when the Birds go down this Saturday, will the Cowpools fans say that we beat their backup as well? Yes. Jalen is playing, but I do think about this. I heard Ryan Clark say this on SVP. He said he doesn't think the injury is that serious. I think he started with that. And he said, could you imagine being the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles thinking they don't need their MVP quarterback to beat you? Oh, man. Let me just set the scenario for a second here. What if I told you that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to go down to Dallas without their MVP candidate quarterback, Jalen Hurts, play the Dallas Cowboys, and that heralded Dallas Cowboys defense and beat them with Gardner Minshew? What if I told you that was the story of week 15? What if I told you that that's the way it was going to go down? To me, this sets up a beautiful opportunity for the Philadelphia Eagles and you, the Philadelphia Eagles fan, that you get now to have the opportunity to go down to Dallas, play them with your backup quarterback, beat them with your backup quarterback without your MVP candidate quarterback, and beat their backup the way you beat their backup, and they weren't able to beat you with their backup. You get to go down to Dallas now and do that. Merry Christmas, everybody. Let's party. That's the scene I want to see. And I don't think it's impossible. I don't even think it's a long shot. I will say at this point in time, I'm not very confident that actually happens, but oh boy. Oh, that'll be something. And there are people that are like, the system quarterback thing from Micah Parsons. Is it Jalen Hurts or is it the team? Like, I don't think that that's going to be any extra added edge to the rest of the Eagles, because the rest of the Eagles is what Micah Parsons is actually complimenting. So people might say, "Oh, Micah Parsons was talking all that ish, right?" I said ish. I don't care. And if Micah Parsons was talking all that ish, oh, this seems to be so motivated. I don't really think he said everyone else is great. He said everybody else is great. He didn't say it was all Jalen Hurts. If he said it was all Jalen Hurts, then everybody would be like, I'll show you it wasn't Jalen Hurts. But no, I don't see it. I think the Eagles just have motivation to A, clinch, B, clinch without their MVP. So there'll definitely be a little extra added motivation to do that. And 3, everyone. How many people? Everyone talks about, as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, how Eagles fans make it clear to them as players, beat the Cowboys. Beat the Cowboys. Beat the Cowboys. Well, the number 1 seed's on the line on home field. Beat the Cowboys. That's all that matters. So these games, especially towards the end of the season, these games really matter to people above all else. So yeah. There you go. What the hell is happening here? Oh my goodness. Chat check is bumping today, people. I think it was ever since I showed the chest there. So people check, you got to check out the Farsi show today. It's nudity. What? Farsi show. NC-17. Starring Elizabeth Berkley. Come on! If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Interesting. Over here last time. That's where I was, Clay. Thank you, Clay. Keith. Oh, Keith, I saw you say that. Okay. Jalen is playing Saturday. Book it. Keith, all right. I don't want him to not play, but if he's not healthy, I don't want him to play. I don't think he's healthy. Boop. Where I just had somebody else in here. What's going on here? Pots and pans. Jalen is playing center. Okay, so Miss Bird Gang 31. What's up? You caught the show live? I hope you enjoyed the nudity. Nice to see you. Alyssa loves Barrett. How can you? I love Barrett. Whenever we're out, if we have a function or something like that, my wife comes with me. She's like, Barrett is just the best. And I'm like, I know. He's the best. He is the best. Big Ben is very big, though. Sean, yes, he is. April, smart kid. Barrett's grandson, absolutely. Sean Gillespie, very brilliant kid. Had to follow my mother like a stalker to find my presents. I never did. No, I followed my parents like a stalker, but they were... I swear my dad like dug a hole in the backyard or something and just like buried whatever presents he bought us. Not the ones from Santa, obviously, for those believers. But they did a phenomenal job. Joey and Eleanor, man. Joey and Eleanor. Boop. By the way, it is, I just want, while I'm thinking of it, I will be at Mom and Dad's. I will be at Joey and Eleanor's on Christmas Eve for the pregame show on Jacob Media with Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner. We will all be in our respective homes and doing the pregame show from there. And I'll also do my halftime hit from the kitchen where me and Pops will be making food. Although my dad said this, he did. Actually, I'll save that for the morning rush. But have to stop using no, because I actually want people to comment on this. So my dad doesn't really want to cook the 7 fish this year. I love cooking. I've talked about it a lot on the show. You guys know I love cooking. I'm in my happy place when I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I'm in my happy place when I'm smoking a cigar, and I'm in my happy place when I am sitting or I'm in the kitchen and I am cooking a meal. I have cooked for 30 plus people multiple times in my life. I have spent 10 hours in the kitchen in one shot. I love it. I absolutely love cooking. And I love the family traditions and all that stuff. And my family's amazing with that, especially this time of year. The Italian side of my family and 7 fish and bringing the panettones everywhere, the whole thing, right? By the way, if you show up at somebody's house, you're Italian, you don't bring a panettone around this time of year, you're a monster. Anyway, so it's a big thing. So I love it. And my dad's like, I'm just kind of thinking about just get most of it catered. I'm just thinking about most of it catered. And it's been a sticking point over the last couple of years with my dad and I. And I if it's Something my father doesn't want to do in terms of actually cook the meal. And I volunteered. I'll cook everything. This year I'm a little busy because I got the game, but he's getting, I would say, probably 5 of the 7 fish. And we end up having like 13 fish anyway, but 5 of the 7 fish, he's going to end up getting catered. I'm going to make the stuffed calamari, but I'm not going to make it in the marinara this year. I'm going to make it, I'm going to grill it with the crab, stuffed calamari with crab and the shallots and all that stuff. But I'm going to grill it with a balsamic glaze. That's what I know. Balsamic glaze is a little bit of a thing of the past, but I still love it. I don't care. My wife loves it, so I'm gonna make that. And my dad's like, "No, I'm gonna get a catered. I'm thinking about it. I'm just gonna get it catered. I think I'm gonna get catered." By the way, that's how my dad talks. I think I'm gonna get catered. But if he gets on the phone with one of his brothers, he's like, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing? Johnny, what's going on, Johnny?" But he talks to me and my brother. Michael, Mark, you guys need to study. You done your homework? Anyway, love my dad. So I'll be at Joey and Eleanor's for Christmas Eve. So look forward to that. That means definitely a good idea. What happened? I have to stop using my last name. What? Sean, stop using what? That's crazy. Dan Schwartz. What's up, buddy? Very brilliant kid. Tell him he wants to find out about the chest hair. He needs to subscribe to the Farsi OnlyFans show. April. Yeah. It's just a matter of wait. Gray chest hair is the worst. Do I don't have great chest. Do we need to look at my monitor? Nope. Spring chicken. Anyway, I have to stop using my last name on here now, Sean. Definitely a good idea. That's why I switched. Wait, what? Huh? What happened? Oh, let's see what's happening. Clay, I'd love to try CBD, but I can't handle because being on Coumadin. All right. Dan Schwartz, Minshew probably staying on a trailer in Dallas while the rest of the team is in the hotel. Probably, just like Uncle Rico. April, absolutely. Means wearing bifocals when on the field, I'm pretty sure. What? Cow pokes. Is that what you're saying, Clay? Cow pokes. Gotcha. Minshew winning Saturday, then bear hugging dad, punching him in the face, chugging a beer with him, crushing the can on his head, and doing a line of blow. All right, Dan. He doesn't want to go overboard. I would absolutely love it if the mustache beats the cowpokes. That would be nice. April. Ooh, I would love to try Farsi's lasagna. Not a big lasagna guy. I got to be honest. I'm not. There's a couple of things that I don't really eat that much. After my one aunt, who was like my grandmother, passed away. This is very common. I've noticed in Italian American families. Because I've talked to other people about this. They're like, "Oh yeah, I don't eat that anymore either," because the person in my family who made the best, and I'll never have it again. Like I've had gnocchi is my favorite pasta. Gnocchi. I would crush gnocchi. It would get served to me as a kid, and I would just dump the plate in my mouth like almost, I don't know, like a cartoon style, right? Loved it. My aunt passed away who made it, and it was amazing the way she made it. I've had it maybe three times. And 2 of the 3 times family has made it for me. So it's like, all right, it's still in the family. I can have it. I really want it. April, I love cooking. It is relaxing to me. Isn't it relaxing? I know people that purposely just learn to cook to avoid the party, because the party's happening and you have a job. You got to cook, so you don't got to be social. I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I thoroughly enjoy it. But I know people that did learn that. Dan Schwartz, Seth said yesterday he'll be a few eggnogs in, probably audio only, after he breaks the camera for the hell of it. That's funny. I'm gonna make Schifoli this week. I'm excited. Really, April. Treat yourself. Hey, Mark, is it sauce or gravy when it comes to spaghetti or any other pasta dish that I say sauce is? Okay. Here's where I'm at. Oh, Clay, I have great chest hair. I'm 53. Okay, I got a couple years there before 53. I got you. Lincoln's Hawk. Love me some gray chest hair and smelts. Do you, Lincoln's Hawk? It's like a switch. Ugh. All right. The saucer gravy. I hate this. I'm gonna tell you right out of the gate. I'm gonna answer this with all respect, and I'm gonna answer this question. But I hate this question. Whatever you grew up calling it at your table, that's what it is. But if you're asking what's accurate, sauce is accurate. Gravy is an Italian-American colloquialism. Okay? It's an Italian-American thing, which is fine. I'm not saying it's bad at all. It's I grew up at my aunt's house, it was gravy. With my dad, it was sauce. Okay? So, for whatever reason, that was the way it was. But if you remember the one scene in Sopranos, or the first or second season, when they go to Italy, Paulie Walnut sits down and goes, can I just get macaroni and gravy? And the Italians are like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, macaroni and gravy. And they're like, do you want spaghetti and marinara? And he's like, yeah, So if you say the word gravy, that's the English language. Let's just make that clear. Second, in Italy, it's salsa or sugo. Those are the Italian words for sauce. I think the confusion comes when you make meatballs or you make sausage in the marinara and you get the drippings from the meat. It becomes like a gravy. I think what we're also dealing with here is that the Italian language, from how it's been explained to me by older actual Italians, not Italians like me, I guess, is that the Italian language itself is a very young language. People think like Julius Caesar was like, hey, mi scusi, like he wasn't, okay? So he was speaking Latin. So the unification of Italy is a fairly new thing within the last, 100 years, Victor Emmanuel II, I think. And with that started the unification. So all these hill towns started speaking one language. They eventually evolved to speak one language. They still speak their own dialects, but that's a recent thing. So you're looking for one country with like 22 different regions with like 1 billion different dialects coming to America and trying to decide on what they're calling things in the English language. That's a difficult thing. So I hate when people are like, it's not calamari, it's gadlamad. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that argument. The sauce or gravy argument I hate, because it's so difficult just to talk about the Italian language as it is versus how we adapt it as Americans, as hyphen Americans, Italian Americans, Polish Americans, whatever we might be. Does that answer the question? So I always tell people, whatever you grew up calling it, that's what you call it. If I come to your house and I'm sitting down and you put linguine on the table and some marinara, and you say, hey, do you want some gravy? I'm going to say, pass the gravy. If you say, do you want any sauce on that? I'm going to say, give me some sauce. What I'm definitely not going to do is, gravy? It's actually sauce. Or, I'm sorry, sauce is actually gravy. And I'm certainly not going to be like, you mean the salsa? You mean the sugo? Oh, yeah. Dami. No, I'm not going to do that. Clay, gravy is what goes in your mashed potatoes. Enough said. All right, that was the linguistic portion of the program. Sorry. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. 76ers back at it tomorrow night after their win over the Raptors. They got the Pistons tomorrow night. Flyers. Oh, my computer's dead, so my notes are dead. Flyers, well, they're not doing well. That's all you need to know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. We had more sauce gravy talk than we did the Flyers. Oh, Cam Atkinson, not going to play this year. That's a little bit of a punch to the gut. Wanted to see him play. Goal scorer. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. You guys are fantastic. Be with you guys tomorrow. We'll hopefully hear from Nick Sirianni today to hear what he has to say about Jalen Hurts and the severity of this injury. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Jim Hyde produced the program, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Have a great day, everybody. See ya.